Alrighty, just a quick video clip here. I don't do many of these nowadays, but I thought this one was worthy of my time. I've been watching some of the footage of the Free Tommy Robinson protest that's been taking place in London this afternoon. Watching it on the live feeds and periscopes and various other means of broadcast of certain patriots and well-meaning people who were there and present and in support of the Free Tommy campaign. Fortunately, they were there to be watched because the mainstream media didn't even acknowledge that this was taking place in the run-up to it or on the day, until such time as there was a little bit of trouble. This was, if you check sources other than the mainstream media, this trouble, such as it was caused and brought about entirely by the police. There's no two ways about that. So I'm not at all surprised by this tactic. I've seen it many times before on English Defence League marches back in the day. The mainstream media won't acknowledge that these things are taking place, in case, I suppose, anybody who isn't aware stops and asks, well, what is it they're protesting about? And then looks deeper and finds out that they're protesting against the industrial scale rape of children, largely by Pakistani Muslims. Not all Pakistani Muslims, some of them are Somalian, and yes, some of them aren't even Muslims at all, but those are a tiny minority in this particular type of crime. And that's just a fact. You don't have to like that, but you have to accept it or switch off. You have no business watching this video. That's just how it is. So if those people were, the mainstream media people, were to report in advance of these, and the 99% of the time that these protests are taking place, where they are just peaceful protests, they're just that, rather than the bit at the end after the police have provoked some trouble. And, you know, let's just put this into context. I've seen a few pictures, because the mainstream media are all over it now. I've seen a few pictures of policemen with bleeding faces. I've done worse shaving, quite frankly. I'll be honest with you. So, you know, maybe stop being such a drama queen and get a different job if your job entails provoking decent people who are opponents of child rape. And patriotic as well. If your job entails provoking them into acts of minor violence, then you're in the wrong job if you're going to whinge about getting a few lumps. I'm sorry, that's just, you know, the way I see it. So this protest today was brought about sort of a step further than the English Defence League. Tommy's no longer involved with the English Defence League, but it was brought about because he was arrested for holding effectively a one-man protest, albeit over a live stream, outside the court where some of these majority Pakistani Muslim rapists had been tried. I'm not even going to get into the semantics of the whole contempt of court thing, or whether or not it was a legal arrest. I don't think it was, personally. The fact remains he was locked up for 13 months because he was exposing this, and has been exposing it for the best part of a decade now, and is constantly being vilified. Where he's mentioned at all, it's always in a negative, derogatory fashion, always includes the words racist, fascist, English Defence League, and so on and so forth. You get the picture. Well, here's the thing. If you are still, after all this time, and now that we have social media and other sources of information are readily available, if you are still taking your political knowledge and your political view on the way society is in 2018, if you're still being fed that by the mainstream media, then I'm afraid you deserve everything that is coming your way very shortly, unless Tommy Robinson and decent people who support him are able to stop it happening. That's just the way it is, I'm afraid.